A colleague keeps giving me compliments on my appearance and treating me like a girl instead of a co-worker. I'm 23F and work at a male-dominated industry. I'm the only female person on my team of 12 people, and the youngest person in the company. There's only 2 other women in the rest of the company. Of 50 people, I'm fine with most of my colleagues. They're fun and they treat me with respect. But there's this one colleague, M29, who makes me uncomfortable. He often gives me compliments on what I'm wearing / how I look. Says stuff I do is cute and says stuff like "or" to me on things I do / do wrong. He has girlfriend, who he always talks down. Saying stuff like "she's too stupid to understand" and other mean comments that sound kinda sexist. I find his behavior towards me inappropriate as we're not friends, and he doesn't treat male coworkers like this. And he has a girlfriend, and I have a boyfriend. And, upside down face, I've expressed this to some of my co-workers that I am close to, but they said I'm making drama out of nothing, and that I should just ignore it. It's not that I feel unsafe, it's just harmless words. But I think it's gross to treat your female co-workers like they're some kids / cute girls? ? Is this something I should mention to HR, or should I just get over myself and ignore him? Please do not comment on my appearance. Please do not make dismissive comments about my work. Please do not use the word cute to describe my professional tasks. If he doesn't take this criticism well and gets bent out of shape, he will look like a psycho. Women are conditioned to accept compliments that are actually disparaging, diminutive, and harassing. He is counting on you to put up with his inappropriate behavior. Do not go to HR unless he escalates after you tell him to cut it out. HR protects the company, not the employee. First thing they will ask is whether you communicated to him that it's unwelcome. And you'll be branded as a troublemaker for complaining unless it's truly egregious. Any advice telling an employee to run straight to HR for being called cute a couple times is coming from commenters who don't understand how a professional workplace functions. If you do go to HR, do so in private and tell absolutely no one in the company. It will become hostile if he finds out, and things could get extremely uncomfortable for you. When I was young and cute, there were a couple of older male colleagues who made inappropriate comments. One constantly talked about how young I looked. "I thought you were a teenager. Are you even old enough to drive?" Always followed by a wink. Yuck. Another told me to smile literally every time I saw him. After a while I got sick of it and I cultivated the fine art of the raised eyebrow and head shake, like it wasn't even worth responding to. Worked fine with the one guy. The smile guy didn't quit until I said, "You need to stop, Jim." He was indignant, so I just repeated, "Jim, stop." That was that, and he never said it again. /u/vitiligo consider going the question asking route. I don't understand. I just made a mistake. Why is that cute? Does your girlfriend know that you think she's stupid? All said with a smile, but putting him in the position of having to explain his own idiocy. I worked with a guy who would constantly complain about his wife. He wasn't creepy at all, so not like this guy. He just seemed to really dislike his wife. One day I blurted out, "Why are you still married to her then?" He never brought her up again to me. You can escalate this to our, but that's a course you should consider carefully, as it could turn your work environment more negative, especially if your co-workers don't have your back like they should. I wonder why the gender disparity. You can ignore him, or you can call him out when he says inappropriate things. What do you mean by that? I would appreciate if you don't make comments about my appearance at work. I don't think that's an appropriate thing to say to me. Do it privately or publicly, but do it at the time it happens. Might not be happy about it, but hopefully he'll stop. He's very bad at dealing with critique, so calling him out like "please don't give me compliments on my appearance" will make him act like he's the victim, and that I'm stuck-eyed. I have bad experience with trying to talk to him, but I could try saying I don't appreciate it next time he decides to make a remark on my appearance. I can screenshot it and use that, if he's going to try and make me look like the bad guy. My BF blew off our plans to get drunk with his friends. I left the next day because it made me upset. Basically we had plans to drink on Saturday. None of my roommates were home and all of my friends were away this weekend. I originally wanted to go home on Friday, but he convinced me to stay because he would be lonely. When Saturday came around, he spent the day with his friends. Fine. He came back. We live in the same apartment complex. He lives above me, drunk, and spent the night drinking with them instead. I could literally hear him having fun. I didn't want to reach out because I was curious if he would say something first, and as time went on, I didn't want to. He didn't. I told him I was going to bed around 12 AM and he seemed upset. I was a little bitchy over text, but I don't even think he noticed. I just felt taken for granted because I was put in a situation that was only convenient for him. That night I decided I would go home for the week, leaving on Sunday. I originally didn't want to tell him I was leaving because he thought it was acceptable to disrespect me the day before. I ended up telling him while I was at the train station, minutes from catching my train. Again, he seemed upset. Eventually I explained why I was at home and how his actions on Saturday made me feel. He just said okay, I'll try harder, but this felt insufficient since I sent a long response. Nonetheless, we talked it out yesterday and I came clean with how I was feeling and he did as well. I don't know if my decision to leave was good, but my mental health has been in the gutter as of late. I didn't want to forget or minimize my pain the next day in order to make it easier on the relationship or him. Why are you with him again? You deserve better. Solid question, something I've been asking myself, to be honest. How old are y'all and how long have you been together? I'll be honest, I'm seeing a lot of immaturity on both sides. I didn't want to reach out because I was curious if he would say something first. Don't get me wrong, your BF asked you to stay but then hung out with his friends instead, which is messed up because you changed your plans for him. But at the same time, don't do these kinds of tests. Figured someone would say this. And yeah, you're definitely right, but it wasn't a test to see if he respond, but when. I wanted to know if he would text late and try to come down to have sex and then go to bed. Cause I wasn't feeling it. That's why I said I was going to bed. The main issue here is that you pushed back your plans for him but didn't confront him when it happened. It feels like you wanted to confront him the night of but couldn't because he was with his friends too long and you got tired. It is obviously still bothering you or you wouldn't have posted anything. It feels like you want to walk away but don't want to be the bad guy. Him telling you that he feels he doesn't deserve you is emotional manipulation, by the way. Suggest that he get counseling for his self-esteem issues, but his feelings are not your responsibility unless you make them. That's how I have viewed it. It feels like gaslighting sometimes because I'm trying to say how I feel and he is forcing me to feel bad because of how it affects him. Excuse me, it is freaking insufficient. He could have communicated with you what he was doing. He didn't seem apologetic in the slightest. Someone who lacks to think of me doesn't deserve my time, so it's up to him to make it up to you. Also, I don't know how long you've been dating, because we know we aren't all mind readers, but he literally did the bare minimum. When it came down to it, that's all I wanted. For him to just at least say he was gonna be with them for the night even though we both knew already. What hurt me is that we've been together for about 6 months and he hasn't done this since the beginning. Even then I would tell him how it made me feel. I just don't know why he thought this was acceptable, especially since he knew I was alone. I would look if this is a pattern of him blowing you off when plans are made with you. If this is a one-time thing and you two talked it out to a mutual understanding, then your question about leaving is a moot point. My 28F husband's 26M best friend 26M asked him to be a sperm donor. Gonna keep this short. My husband's BFF, who we'll call Liam, is basically like family. We spend holidays together every year with each of our extended families and they have known each other since they were kids. My hubby's parents and Liam's parents also go back to childhood. So this is a solidified friendship. Neither of us have kids, and Liam and his wife are unable to conceive. They have asked my husband to be a sperm donor and another woman we don't know to be an egg donor. I would absolutely not feel comfortable seeing my husband's biological child who may look like him at every holiday, especially since we don't even have kids yet. Reddit, what do I do? Tell him what you told us right there. I have a feeling that it won't be easy for him either. Can't imagine watching the kid grow up, knowing it's half you, and then try to not to feel any sort of instinctual bond with it. Yeesh. If your husband seems like he's seriously considering it, have him consult an attorney first. He may not want to be on the financial hook for the child for 18 years. Ianal. Why can't they just adopt? I said the same thing, but I think they want to know who the parents are to make sure the kids are getting the best genes, not that anything is ever guaranteed anyway. They have asked my husband to be a sperm donor and another woman we don't know to be an egg donor. Upon reading the title, I know your husband's best friend was infertile and they wanted a sperm donor so the wife could have a child. It's odd to me that neither of them will contribute their genetics to the baby but are asking have a child that is a mix of their friends genetically. If neither are contributing, then perhaps it would be better for them to adopt fertilized embryos. These are from couples who have leftover embryos from doing IVF and want to donate them so others can start their families. Tell your husband you don't want him to be a donor, and when he tells them no, he can suggest this option for them to look into. Thanks for the comment. I didn't know that was an option. I believe the reason they opted to pick two others to donate is they didn't want the kid to be just one parent's biological child and not the other's. They would rather it be from two other people.